Chelsea Blue.
Hello there, we're Chelsea Blue. I'm Jonathan, this is Gary. We are going to be discussing the rather dismal 3-1 loss, at least we scored, to Forest. Forest's B team, because they rested 8 in order to be ready for the Europa Cup semi-final against Villa this week. And yet we still struggled and failed miserably against a side with a lot of spirit, as their manager suggested, which of course we have none, and we don't appear to have much skill or ability as well, because we carried on where we'd left off against Brighton rather than where we'd left off against Leeds, and it wasn't a happy sight, was it, Gary?
Not at all. No, but I think we're running out of adjectives to describe bad.
No, I think you said one yesterday. You said abysmal.
Yes, no, the one that comes to my mind. We were pathetic at Brighton.
Yeah.
We were abysmal yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of anything else. And you're absolutely right. It's like we sort of forgot the Leeds game. It was that sort of didn't exist. We just carried on from Brighton.
But I was using the Leeds game for myself as a yardstick of how we might possibly play.
Yeah.
Because we turned up against Leeds. We all competed. It was a very quick passing. We played long. There were some very good tackles. We were first to the ball. In this instance, it was as if none of that had happened. And it was Brighton all over again. Second to the ball, slow. Their first goal in 2 minutes was just a disaster. I mean, the ball was just given away by Tosin. I remember then a couple of passes occurred and it went to the wing. Cucurella nowhere to be seen.
He was skinned by the...
It was 4-on-1. There were 4 blue shirts and 1 Forest. And the person who got to the header was the Forest centre forward.
So and also there was nobody. I mean, they were around. Nobody was watching him. He had a completely clear header. I mean, which is extraordinary when you have so many people around that area, but nobody is watching the player who's going to actually head the ball.
Disastrous. And then the second goal, only a few minutes up, which was sort of inevitable because we couldn't get to the ball. We couldn't. And then when we did get to the ball, we're playing tippy-tappy out from the back again.
It's backwards, sideways. It was all the
backwards and sideways. Yeah, completely. It was horrendous. And Gusto decides when the ball is centred to grab the Forest centre forward's shirt. I mean, and of course VAR is going to pick it up.
I mean, he wasn't. I mean, I would have. I mean, obviously he had a chance at the forward, but he could easily have missed it because it was coming probably across at quite a speed. So Gusto, by doing that, just gave it away. But I mean, that's panic. I mean, which we have almost all over the pitch. But that was panic within 2 and 15 minutes, and then you suddenly. Where we are, here we are again.
I lost my temper with Gusto on one occasion. Remember when we were attacking and he got down the wing, and instead of centering it, he just turned around and passed it back. And I just thought, oh God, this is just becoming.
That's exactly it. I mean, I thought. I mean, obviously he was sadly injured when Derry, but I thought Derry actually was the one that showed some commitment. At least he was fighting.
He got a fabulous centre in for when the ball came back and Enzo hit the post.
He did.
But that kind of thing it's almost disappeared from our locker of competence. Our abilities, the ability to get to the goal line and centre back in again, and put stress on the opposition, put pressure on the opposition defenders, and so he actually revealed that, and then unfortunately got this dreadful head injury for which we feared the worst. It was 10 minutes before they got him. I know.
I mean, it was a penalty. I mean, because he got to the ball first. I mean, it wasn't necessarily. Forest player wasn't necessarily looking to hurt him, but he was there first, and it was a terrible clash of heads.
And then, of course, we had the penalty, which was 10 minutes later, which
didn't help. It doesn't help when you take a penalty,
but it was considering he's a brilliant penalty taker. It was use the word abysmal again, Gary. It was just
absolutely not. I mean, it's extraordinary to see a player become so quickly an average player.
Oh,
nothing.
That's worse than average. He had a terrible game. He was hardly involved.
An averagely poor player, probably.
Yeah, he's become a player you would think. He wasn't beating any. He does that reverse turn a lot, where he goes one way then turns back on it. But I can do that when I play Sunday football.
When he did that though in his first season, he did that a lot. But when he did reverse, he moved with pace.
Accelerated away, not just doing it on the spot.
You can do that.
A number of times he was caught in possession.
Yeah, he doesn't have
doing
that. To get away.
He has become.
I mean, I think it's just. I mean, you have to say, we've talked about Phil Foden as the other example of that situation. The player winning all the plaudits and then losing their form completely.
Mm.
In Palmer's case, we know it's injury led, but it's something else. I mean, it's either he sort of seems to be sort of just letting himself walk through games. He's not going for anything. He doesn't seem to me to be really attempting to find his form. He's sort of just happy with the way he's playing.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly he can't be inside, but he doesn't look like he's really.
He's almost going through the motions, isn't it? Really.
Which is what a lot of those players did yesterday again, particularly. I mean, the exceptions were, as we said, I think Jerry and João Pedro, who is class personified.
Yeah. And let's briefly talk about the one goal that we scored, which of course was. No, let's briefly talk about the third Forest goal first,
yes.
where they just took it to the cleaners and
Pace,
tapped
power,
in, pace, power. Yeah. Got
Good
the ball
cross.
down the wing, great cross. The centre forward gets there before anybody else.
There were no defenders there. They were half a yard
that's
behind.
Right. They'd all missed it. So
that
was the end of the game. And then we had a sort of surge in the second half. We had about 10 minutes where we played quite competently.
Yeah. I mean, we did. I mean, if you look at it in the other way, we did have. So what happened? We had a VAR decision against us, a missed penalty.
Yeah. We want to go. That was Pedro, and that was Cucurella. He's doing a little bit of confidence. So then, and yes, it was by inches. Pedro's goal was disallowed, and then in the 9 minutes added on with once again, you can tell that the fans aren't pleased by the fact that they just don't hang about, as was with the Brighton game. There was hardly anybody there. Goal of the season from Pedro.
Absolutely.
I mean, what I loved about it was the fact that it was all down to him. It was all. I mean, it was Cucurella's chip across.
Yes,
but the fact that then he chested it in the air. He's in the air, chested it, flicked it up for himself by chesting it, and baps it in overhead. Shades of Good Johnson. Against who did he score that goal against?
Leeds, I think.
Against Leeds, absolutely, he did. Yeah.
Remember that one well.
Yeah.
Good Johnson was more. It was almost more just over. I mean, he did it over his head and sort of, whereas Pedro sort of pirouetted around.
Yeah. Well, I think
did it from a slightly different angle, but both extraordinarily good goals. The shame about that goal.
Well expressed, extraordinary goal. I agree.
Because it's the last goal of a defeat, but it shouldn't be because it's memorable. And it also shows Pedro's quality that is standing out, hugely above everybody else.
He is streets ahead of everybody else, and that was in the 9 minutes added on, of course, because of Derry's. No, it wasn't Derry.
No,
it was because of Sanchez's injury. Because we had two head injuries. We had Derry in the first half, and then Sanchez, and then they have to be substituted because of the concussion protocol. But I was surprised that Jorgensen came on because I thought we wouldn't see him again.
Yeah, he's obviously he got him back. Presumably just for the last couple of games, thinking they can't put an 18-year-old in, surely.
Indeed, and what was it came on? Colwell came on and didn't really excel, but at the same time, it's the first time he's been on for the whole of the season. So because of his ACL injury.
Yeah, so we hope you have. I mean, I think the plan must be to, if everything goes as it should, is to play Chalobah and Colwell in the final.
In the final, I have to say I didn't think Tosin excelled himself again. I think we saw how slow he can be.
He was slow today.
But it was just a dreadful performance.
I just think
McFarlane then came on at the end for the press conference and just resorted to Rosinia cliches. I'm afraid it was the same pattern of delivery.
He did say correctly that the first 15 minutes was unacceptable. Well, the whole game was, but I get his point because you can't start a match like that. I mean, it's almost as if they thought, Forest put the second team out, we can stroll around.
Yeah, we don't need to make an effort.
Yeah, so they didn't. But I also think there's a disconnect somewhere in that dressing room because the players, it looks like they stroll around, they don't care. I can't believe that all of those players don't care. No. I mean, they're professional footballers at the top level. They must want to win games. It doesn't look like it. At times it looks like, it's 50-50 ball. We won't bother with that one. You can have that one. And it's all sort of, whether it comes from, obviously, managers and coaches not being up to it, that's one thing. But it's the players themselves. They need to take responsibility for what's been a shocking run of the performances.